yesterday. I paid attention, and I'm going to pay more attention for the rest of spring and the season. It's pretty good, even though they lost. I took the loss and I'm like, that's all right. They're 8-7, not terrible. It's spring training. It doesn't mean that much.
Yeah,
Means they're
spring
getting into their grooves, and they'll just get better from here.
Spring training doesn't mean anything. You could have the worst records. There have been teams who've had the best record in spring training and have finished in last place, and teams that have had towards the worst and have won the World Series. Spring training doesn't mean anything. Were you watching on TV or were you at a game in Florida?
Watch it on TV. Still pretty good.
You know,
Then I went to a friend's house, got super high, and still watched it on TV until the game ended.
Giants will be on TV today, which I'm excited about.
Right. It's just like the New York Giants football. They didn't have the best spring training, but they made the playoffs, and that's what counts.
And you just want guys to get healthy and get ready for the year. And, well, the Yankees aren't staying healthy right now. Carlos Rodon, who was your big signing over the offseason, is going to miss at least his first start.
That's gonna
Yeah, and then Harrison Bader's also banged up. He'll miss a couple weeks.
Yep.
Already injuries.
And the Yankees are a type of team that I feel like are an 85 to 90 win team that cannot afford to lose too many guys.
Well, that's why you have the farm system. You have that bench and a couple starters, even new acquirements.
Yeah.
Go. They can't play. Clear the bench. Get some people off the bench, and they'll fill in. Or they'll get somebody from Columbus, and they'll fill in.
If Bader's not going to play for the first couple weeks, there's one guy that I actually kind of liked when I went to spring training that I liked a lot, and that's Jason Dominguez. Could fill in very nicely in that outfield for Bader, because Bader's probably going to be a starter this year. I like Dominguez's bat. I think he's a great outfielder. I think he could work with this Yankees team, and I think he's due to get called up. He didn't get called up last year, but you figure that the Yankees are going to utilize their farm system this year, because you got Anthony Volpe, who's going to get called up soon. You got Peraza, who's going to have a full season this year. He's competing with IKF for the shortstop job. And then you also got Dominguez, who could fill nicely in the outfield on occasion. So for the Yankees, this is a big year for them. Obviously, the last piece of the puzzle for them is getting past the Astros, which is a big problem. But if you're the Yankees, you got to be able to figure everything out. You got to keep your guys healthy, like you said.
Well, it's a 162 game season too, so you gotta figure out how to everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything has to run smoothly. I know baseball is like a marathon. It's not a sprint like the NFL and in some cases the NBA, but baseball is a marathon. You gotta be consistent throughout. You gotta make sure that you can put together a good streak of wins. You're not gonna win all 162 games, obviously, but you got to make sure that you stay consistent, you stay healthy, and you play good baseball throughout. It's a game of attrition. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
Just sharing out.
162 games is a lot. And unless, like in the old days when I gambled on it, it was a little more interesting. But to watch it, it still has its pluses. It's still a fun sport. So I do watch it, but not the same amount as I used to.
And what made you stop watching it? When and what made you decrease watching it?
Well, decreasing all sports began when I stopped gambling on the sports, because part of the fun is having Raul Mondesi, break your heart in the ninth inning with a 3-run home run, and it means a lot because you have money riding on it. But other than that, I didn't, who wins, who loses, not a big deal. But I like the sportsmanship of the game. It's an interesting game. So I still watch it a bit.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the game itself, but unfortunately the geriatric idiots who run it think there was, and that's why they have implemented the pitch clock this year. And it's just, as I said on the show last week, it's just really hard to watch these games because they feel very rushed, and I don't like games.
I don't feel like it is. Well, it turns like, let's say your game was going to go extra innings, it goes all the way to 15th inning. Then it's not like it's hours and hours. It's less.
But it's rare when they go that long.
Or it goes to the 11th. I mean, I don't want to sit through a 4-hour game. I want 3.5 hours.
Why do we want this to be over? I don't think anyone who goes to a concert or goes to a music festival or goes to a movie.
I'm saying, imagine if you came to see the New York Philharmonic and they played for 4 hours. I don't think I could stand the New York Philharmonic for 4 hours.
Well, you don't, but no, but it's like that's. I don't.
I'd rather
think,
have 2.5. I'm good.
Are
with
you
them
someone
at
who would go
2.5.
see the New York Philharmonic though?
Yes, of course.
Well, I have rock bands that I love, but when they play music like obscure cuts or a new song from a new album, I even get bored. And that's shows that the bands or the singers that I like, they drag it out a bit sometimes, you know.
Or they give you the medley of all the hits, and you're like, why are you pushing this off for new material? What is this?
New material doesn't sell.
I don't want
That's
a
the problem.
medley.
No, it's because
I
all
love
of our
the song
brains,
I love.
all of our brains go too fast, and we can't collectively pay attention as a society.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
That's
Because-
important.
People are cell phoning the show and they're not listening. They're just sitting there with
Yep.
cell phones flashing every time a
Oh, yeah.
song is.
There's a guy named Donald Glover. He asks people to turn off their cell phones when he goes at a concert because he wants people to pay attention to the songs he's doing. So we are used to just filming everything. Why do you think we have so many people filming fights or accidents on their videos? We are just so video crazy or social media crazy.
but you
It's all
look
about
at
capturing the moment. That's really what it is about in that instance. It's about capturing the moment and keeping it. That's really what that's about.
yeah, and people, and I'm the most guilty of this of anyone. I can't capture the moment, and that's why I also feel that same need to take pictures of nice clouds. Even if it's just nice clouds, I need to capture that moment.
My brain keeps all those moments in a little spot. So I remember a lot of shows from 40 years ago, but that's just me.
I've been more emotionally numb in recent years. Thankfully, not this year, but I was last year. And, I would just when I was at a baseball game, I would desperately take pictures, and I would do it desperately to try and hold on to that moment. And just speeding the game up with the pitch clock isn't going to fix that. We need to slow people's brains down and help them live in the moment without the need to film or take pictures.
Well, I will say this, the pitch clock could be both a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, listen, they're going to play around with the pitch clock this year because it's the first time they're ever implementing it. 15 seconds, I agree with you. It's very, very fast for a pitcher to get inside the batter's box, alert the pitcher that they're ready, and just swing. Because 15 seconds, it goes bum, 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 bum. I think a decent amount would be maybe 20 seconds, but you get 20 seconds with a runner on, but that's a little bit difficult because now your mind needs to process a little bit more. What I think they need to do is I think they should test out the pitch clock this year, see what it's like, and if you want to add to the time of 15 seconds, then by all means add to 15 seconds. But again, for people who want to see a game with action and not have it drag, I think the pitch clock is the best thing for baseball. And actually, the ghost runner is there to stay too, which also speeds up the game.
Well, I think the best way to speed up the game and have more action is to not have only basically 4 true outcomes, which is home runs, walks, strikeouts, and pop-ups.
Gentlemen, I read chat. Snug says you can't capture a moment with a picture. The experience is in the moment.
Exactly.
The picture's just an image.
Amen. Whoever said that.
Snug,
Hey,
he's
fucking
the
man.
number one viewer of the whole network. So he
Yes,
comes to all the
amen.
shows.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
It's because there are only 4 true outcomes today. The home runs, the walks, the strikeouts, and the pop-ups. And today's pitchers only try and throw 100 miles an hour, and today's hitters only try and hit everything out of the park. And so when they drop their back swings, I'm not joking, and they swing up, it was basically invented by kids in Little League because I saw this when I played Little League back in 2004. It was kids trying to emulate their favorite sluggers without the steroids to do so. And so they kept those swings because their Little League parents, every time they blasted a ball 75 feet, thought they were the next Babe Ruth. They're like, yeah, you keep it going. So through high school, through college, to the minors, and now into the majors. But the thing is, when you swing a bat like that, you are far less likely to make contact with the ball. And when you do, you're more likely to pop it up than anything. And that is why the games are so slow. If you want action, then hitters should shorten their swings, take normal swings, try and get on base, steal bases, get guys over, get guys in, play the game the right way.
You should tell them that. Well, you're in the minor leagues, so tell the youngers that.
I'm not in the minor leagues. I'm not in the minor leagues.
I thought you're an umpire, no?
No. I didn't go to umpire school to get a minor league umpiring job. And if I did, There's no way I'd be doing a live show with you guys because they have. I just went to umpire school because I want to be a college umpire, which I'm a couple years off from. I'm doing high school
then
this
tell
year
the
next.
students. Try and teach them something.
I tried. A lot of them agreed with me.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to kind of hijack the conversation. I'm just really
Stephen, that's progress, and that's kind of your thing, right? The hijack.
I'm pissed off about this. It doesn't feel like baseball. Yesterday's Yankee Pirates game, was that the game you watched, Kenny?
Yeah.
Phillies, 2 hours. Right? 2 hour. What?
Wasn't the Phillies, or is that a replay?
Pirates. Yankees played. Yeah, Yankees played the Pirates yesterday. Yesterday's game went 2 hours and 14 minutes. The Giants and Dodgers played. It took them only 41 minutes to get through 3 innings. Come on, that is way too quick.
Like I said, they're going to try this out and make some adjustments as time goes on.
Yeah. And I anticipate next year they'll add an extra 5 seconds, and it'll be 20 seconds without guys, 25 with guys, and then probably in 25 they'll add an extra 5 seconds to that because most guys. You know what I think the best solution to that is? Just have the umpires rigorously enforce a pace so that pitcher, because you don't have that many guys who take forever to throw, and just for the few guys who do, the umpire can kind of judge his own pace and kind of speed things along without a clock and kind of say, hey, you got to throw a pitch or I'm calling a ball. Something like that.
Well, you also got to realize as well, they also trimmed out the constantly throwing to first every other pitch, which is a big way to drain time, because if a runner was on first, you'd constantly see a pitcher throw to first every other pitch.
Yes.
And that would just drain.
But it also is very action-packed and can be very stressful because it's a cat and mouse game. You got a fast runner at first who's you've got the potential winning run on base. Game 7 of the ninth, bottom of the ninth, Game 7 of the World Series, tie game, nobody out. You got that runner up on first with nobody out, who's that speedster who's going to steal second, and you're going to be thrown over there a whole bunch of times because and that's not boring. That's not dead time. That's pure tension-packed drama. Mm-hmm. And this is going to give hitters an incentive to try and draw that pickoff throw to first, because what it is you get 2 guaranteed pickoffs, and if you make a third, you have to get the guy or else it's a balk, and you're going to have base runners try and draw that third throw. I think a way to enforce that would be kind of judge, like, is this kind of throw necessary? Like when a pitcher is nervous and just making a bunch of throws because they're nervous, which sometimes happens, and they're like throwing to first a bunch of times and the runner's not even taking that big a lead. You'll see that where they throw to first and the guy just pats. And it's just like one of those. I would try and limit those. Those are the type that I would try and limit, and the umpire can feel like, hey, if there's too many, he can call a balk.
Yeah,
that's
what they're trying to do, because they're limiting the amount of times they could do that. They only limit like 2 throws to first now.
Yeah, but let's say you have a speedster on, and every throw to first, a guy dives back into the bag. There shouldn't be a limit on that. That's a cat and mouse game right there. That's not boring at all. That is not dead time at all. That is real hard-nosed, action-packed baseball. And that should not be limited at all. What should be limited is when you're throwing it first, when the guy's standing on the bag just to check on him. It's that should be limited, not.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I don't like this rule. You shouldn't have a hard limit. You should have, just like my suggestion for the flow of the pitcher, you should have umpires enforce that. And if they feel like they're making unnecessary throws, they can call a balk. That's what I would do.
That's a fair amount. That's a fair assessment.
Just as I think the plate umpire without a clock should enforce the pace of the game.
Exactly.
I'm just tweeting it out, man. So you guys continue.
I haven't seen a baseball game live since 2004. Been a long time.
I haven't seen one in a couple years.
I haven't seen one live since 2022.
Well,
I
my
haven't
team.
seen live since 2010 or 2011.
I have
Actually,
no team to see, so that's.
Well, I haven't seen a Major League Baseball game since 2022. I umpired
Yeah,
a
that's
high
what I
school
meant.
game
That's a
2 weeks
Major League
ago.
Baseball game I watched.
And I want to umpire high school, but and I'm going to be soon, but we've been having some horrible weather across Sacramento. I got to umpire a JV game 2 weeks ago. So that's technically the last baseball game I went to. The last MLB game I went to was October 5th of last year in San Diego.
Yeah, I've watched Yankee baseball since 2010, the year after they won the World Series. That's how long I've been watching Yankee baseball for. But
Nice.
like I
I've
said
been
before,
watching
I've had to endure long nights watching Yankee games. I've endured those dreadful losses to the Astros. I've been through all that, and it's just I am a fan of the sport. I've called baseball games when I was in Staten Island. I did a lot of stuff. Like, I love the game of baseball, but sometimes, no matter how much you love something, you want to see something progress.
That's true. Progress is great.
Yes, and you don't want dead time, but you could do that without the pitch clock.
I've been a Yankee fan since like 84, 85. So
what's your
I've seen
name?
it all.
And
Oh,
what's
my
your
name is
name?
Matt.
Matt, the curse of Matt. The Yankees haven't won the World Series since. No, I'm kidding. Wait, you were a play-by-play guy for the Staten Island team?
I was a play-by-play guy for Rutgers baseball when I was, but like I used to do this thing called the Staten Island Senior Games, where kids who were special needs or on the spectrum, I would call games for them on an app called Colorcast, which is unfortunately defunct. It was a great app. But when I was at Rutgers, I was part of the student radio station, and I also called their baseball games.
That would be such a great gig because I want to be an announcer. That's my number one goal, and I would love to announce college games. That would be
college
such a
baseball is
fun
great.
game.
Did you ever see Pete Davidson in Staten Island? He's from there, right?
Yeah, he is. He is.
That's a good movie.
Which movie?
The movie he was in.
Oh yeah,
Staten
Staten Island. It was a good movie.
I'm visiting there on Saturday to pitch this and my Woo podcast.
Who
Two of the
is?
good Woo guys. They'll be around somewhere. I'm sure some of them will be around. They're not on tour until the week after.
But anyway, the whole
Catch 'em
baseball
before
thing. The U.S. started their open play in the World Baseball Classic last night. They
Yes.
started today. They beat I think it was Costa Rica by score 6-2. Klaus Schwarber went on.
Ooh. When's their next game?
Their next game, I believe, is Monday or Tuesday. They
beat Great Britain.
I will check them out when those days happen.
Wait, Great
I'll
Britain
pay
has a
attention.
football team?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but did you
Great
see
Britain's
their
a baseball team.
uniforms? It's like did you see their jerseys? They literally it's like they typed the words Great Britain on there. It's just like a word font, and they just slapped it onto a jersey. I'm not joking.
That's not good.
You saw it,
not
right?
good at all, man. Well, that's Great Britain. We've got some good jerseys, right? We didn't just slap
I
it
don't
on
know.
the US.
Our jerseys are good, but I feel like things like art, society has been really sterile since the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, and so is the baseball because baseball mimics life in America and throughout the world. And
You guys are on Twitter, right?
Yep.
Have you seen my new logo?
I did.
I tweeted it. You
I
like
might
it?
have seen it, but
I
I
just
didn't
feel like
remember
things
it.
are really sterile. You don't see much art in anything anymore.
But you like it, right?
Oh, I do like it.
Yeah, I paid $20 for that.
But
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying you don't see.
Plus a $7 tip, so more like 30 with everything. Still pretty good.
I think if there's one contender to watch in the World Baseball Classic, it's probably going to be Japan because Shohei Ohtani's part of it. And Shohei Ohtani, I see now why he's the best player in baseball according to the players. Like there's a top 100 players in baseball. Shohei Ohtani's number 1 and Aaron Judge number 2. I know why Ohtani's number 1. Because he's a great batter, a great pitcher.
What does Ohtani play for?
Yeah.
What does he play for?
He plays for Japan.
I mean, he plays for Japan.
Yeah.
You think he'd ever come over here?
Well, he did. Well, he is over here. He plays for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But would he come to the Yankees? Oh boy, that would require a lot of money, which I don't think the Yankees have because they just got Rodon. They gave Judge $360.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. But he wants out of Anaheim. I can tell you that much. It's been bad.
Who's Japan playing? Did they play all right?
They're I think 2-0 in exhibition play, and Ohtani's got like 6.
No, they're 2-0 period. They're 2-0 period. I mean, they won the first 2 tournaments. They won in 2006 and again in 2009. They're actually no, they're 4-0.
They're phenomenal.
Oh.
They're phenomenal. But people like Ohtani are the catalyst for it.
You got some noise, Steven. Other Steven.
That is not.
I'm just gonna mute for now. You got noise, dude. You can.
It's just crazy, like how these Japanese prospects come to the U.S. and they make such an impact from day one. I mean, Ichiro Suzuki came in, Masahiro Tanaka before he came back, before he went back to Japan, he was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hideki
Matsui was amazing.
Hideki
was Thriller by Godzilla.
And Matsui was like the Jordan of baseball.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Ichiro was.
Okay.
Ichiro was the best player to come out of Japan.
Matsui was still a big star over there.
Oh, he was great, and he was a great major leaguer too. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Yankees. He won a World Series.
And was the MVP of that World Series.
He was.
That's the goal, to be the MVP and win the whole thing. Yeah. You accomplished it.
In your lifetime, will there ever be a female in MLB playing? Will it ever happen?
I hope
I
so.
think it will.
Here's the
I
deal with
hope
that.
so.
You know, men are biologically tend to be stronger than women. That's just how
That's
science.
true, but I hope
has-
one day they have a women's NFL. They got
Well-
women's rugby. Why don't they have an NFL of their own?
Well, 780
One day.
780 to 840 players play Major League Baseball in any given day. 780 from April to August when teams have 26 on the roster. 840 in September when they have 28 on the roster. I bet you could find 1 to 10 women
For
who could
sure.
play up to that
They have
level.
to be good enough. Somebody. Hockey is the only sport that had Manon Rhéaume play goaltender for the Lightning in a preseason game. No other woman ever was in the four sports. And
A
I
woman
thought,
has-
she would make the majors, but she didn't, of course.
There are 2 women who are in the minors in baseball. Actually, 3. One out of my class.
Wow. Pretty good.
And so 3 that are in the minors, and there was a woman back in 2007 who got to umpire a spring training game.
Isn't there professional slow pitch softball for females?
Yes,
Isn't
and
there
I
that?
do think softball is kind of sexist in a way because a lot of those girls can play
Yeah.
baseball. They're tough, hard-nosed ball players.
Yeah.
They'll slide into second base. They'll slide into second base to break up a double play. They'll come in hard at the plate.
Why
to
don't
score
they
that
just
run.
go?
They're
we're-
tough,
we're-
hard-nosed ball players.
You gals could still play softball, but we now have women's hardball.
Yeah, you got to have at
And
least
on up.
women's hardball.
But I'm
should do
talking
that.
about integrating them into the pros, like the existing pro leagues.
Sure.
Which
Believe
can be
it or
done.
not, women in some way, shape, or form play in men's sports. If you watch the Little League World Series several years ago, there was a
Yes.
woman that was
Monet
playing
Davis.
for. Yeah,
It's going to
Well,
happen because now
Well,
society is
they
changing
got
so fast.
a WNBA. I could just see a
Yeah.
WMLB, WNFL one day. That'd be great.
I guess they could split them up based on the sexes, but I would just love to see a woman actually play in the men's league just for the hell of it, to see what happens, how it goes
Exactly.
down. Wouldn't bother me.
Absolutely. I would love to
Separate
see it.
showers, that's all.
Separate showers exactly. And I think it can be done. I don't see any reason why it can't be. And you think
Yeah.
about it, even it would be a woman who's somewhere between 5, I don't know, even like a smaller petite woman. Let's say you got a woman who's 5'6". David Eckstein was 5'6". You might have a woman who could be small but has good bat speed and can hit a base hit in the left field off a fast throwing pitcher. They might have the hand-eye coordination. And there are women who could be 5'8", 5'9", and may have a little pop in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It really depends on the right time, right place, right time, and right person to do so, to break the segregation barrier. That's really what it all comes down to. But again, it will happen somewhere down the line because of the way the society has changed.
That's what I
And-
mean. Yeah.
That's really what it's all about. It's about laying the groundwork for history to be made.
Remember, Jackie Robinson used to play in Montreal in the minors before he went, and he was the first black guy, and that was a huge deal back then. So
Back in
this is the next
1946.
thing that they have to do.
And I feel like actually
No.
that you don't need a pitch clock at that point. That alone, bringing women and actually bringing more diversity into the game because
On our last conversation, Snug said there's nothing Otani can't do
Yeah,
on the diamond. Right.
absolutely.
Hey, Jeff. We have another fan. Jeff, another big fan of the network, is here. What's happening, dude? He thinks this is the best show on the network. He could be right. I'm also a big fan of the President's Show, Loud Mouse. Wednesday and Thursday night, in case you guys want to check that out. He's always live. He always has his rants, too, part of the show.
What happened to the Grigster? He's like disappeared. Remember him?
I don't know, man. I mean, we can discuss that off this show. I don't know what happened. I mean, you're better friends with him. You should check it out.
I know that he moved to a house and he had to spend day and night for months fixing the
I
house.
heard
but
about
that's
that.
why. Yeah.
And I mean, the story's got to be with him. We can talk about that off
All
the
right.
air.
I don't mean to
Yeah.
derail. Sorry, I
Yeah.
derailed
Yeah, it's
you
okay.
there.
That's a buddy of ours. That's all it is, man. And
Yeah.
he
It's
hasn't
okay. It's
been
okay.
around. Lots of people haven't been around, and I'm not too worried about them when I'm on this show.
Yeah. I just
People
thought
get
I'd
busy. That's just what happens, right?
Right.
Big news in the NFL this past week with the Chicago Bears trading the #1 pick away.
Ooh.
Traded the #1 pick away. For those of you who don't know, the Chicago Bears traded the #1 overall pick for 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and their wide receiver DJ Moore to the Carolina. Well, the Bears, yeah,
Why
they
did they
got
trade
DJ
the
Moore.
number
They
one
got 2
pick?
firsts, they got 2 seconds, and DJ Moore for the 9th overall pick in the draft. They got rid of the first overall pick. They dropped 8 spots down to 9, and now the Bears
Why?
are not on the clock. Now it's the Carolina Panthers.
I'm saying you have the number one pick. Why do you trade it away? You have like the first opportunity to get one of the best players. Why trade?
Well, because the reason why they did that is because the Bears felt like they were set at quarterback, and usually in this day and age, quarterbacks usually go #1 overall in the NFL draft these
That's
days, which
true.
is kind of
Yeah.
unfortunately how it goes. I mean, you don't see too many skill position players like defensive tackles or wide receivers go #1 anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
last year the defensive tackle went #1 overall.
They'll probably at number 9. They'll probably pick up somebody. Go look at Brady. He was the 6th round, and he ended up being the freaking GOAT.
Yeah, 199 overall.
Yeah, and he ends up being a guy that wins 7 Super Bowls and
Crazy.
various conference finals. Right, beyond 7. Right. So you never know what's going to happen even with the 9th pick. It could be a winner or it could be a total bust.
Yeah, absolutely
gonna
could be.
go-
Like you just never know at all.
Right.
So
They could be like, look at this guy. He's great. Or what a freaking bust. He's useless. Right. You don't know how it's going to go. You just got to get in the round and do the gamble and see how it works. And see
Absolutely.
if you cut them or if they're signing a contract for like $20 million the next time over. Okay, what happened? I guess Steven will be back.
Remember Ryan Leaf? That guy was like a real head case. He was supposed to be great. Didn't work
And
out.
no, total bust.
no, it didn't go anywhere.
And Todd Marinovich.
I mean, some players come and some players go, and it's like, yeah.
Couldn't last. There's so
Yeah,
many
didn't
of them.
last. It really depends on the person, their morale, and just how they handle themselves. It's not just about their play, although their play is a big part of it. It
Yeah.
really all comes down to the person itself.
The
And
person and if they're willing to
situation.
do what it is to win. I mean, a 6th rounder called the GOAT, and he was the guy that really wanted to win, and he's willing to put in the work to get there. Yeah.
And if he ended up in baseball, the Expos had his rights, believe it or not.
All right.
He would have been on Montreal Expos.
Okay,
if he's
I'm
decided
trying
on
to unmute.
baseball.
I guess I tried to unmute you. Oh, there you go.
There he's there.
Hey, Steven.
Can't
Yeah,
unmute.
sorry, I'm just driving right now again. But yeah, the whole thing with the Bears, I want to go trade back more.
Yeah, the Bears could have traded back more, but I feel like they got a haul from the Panthers already. I feel like they didn't really. They got what they needed. They got 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a receiver. I mean, that's really an overhaul for dropping 8 spots.
It
But
seems like a good trade for them. They didn't need a quarterback, so they got that covered, and then they just get what they need, and it seems like it works out for everyone, right?
yeah, and the best part is for the Bears, you have 2 to 3 years now where you can build yourself to become a contender again because the Bears have been awful for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, they have sucked.
Yep.
They have sucked for the last 2 years, and unfortunately, nothing is a guarantee at this point, especially with picks. But if Chicago drafts well, and I think that they go defense in the first round because that's how they've been over their history. They're a defensive scheme team, and that's
I
really
wanted
what it all comes down
to
to.
relay somebody's comment about when we were talking about women in football. If there was a woman with the skills to play at the MOB level, they would be there. It would be the greatest free marketing campaign in history. It says Snug the cat, right?
Oh,
It's just one to get I think people that show up, their comments should be valued and read.
but
Arrow won't read the comments, but he's focused on stuff
I
like
think
his rant and other things.
for
as
a woman to
interviews.
play football, they would have to be bulkier in that sense. Wouldn't they be easily, if they're 5'2", 89 pounds, I don't think they could last unless
No,
they
they
were a
wouldn't.
kicker.
Right.
No, they wouldn't. I mean, kicker would probably be a good thing for them.
Yeah.
College had that. College had a woman kicking, right?
I think so.
They got female
do.
coaches now.
Yeah, that's at least one thing.
That's
And the
progress.
umpires, of course.
Yeah.
And refs. Don't forget, basketball has refs. Does hockey have refs for female?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think so, but I think that might change.
I don't. I've seen a lot of
Change is
hockey.
good in a
but
sense.
It's not that it's good; it's inevitable at this point. Everything is moving into the next level of expanding the norms.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
now there's a couple of gay baseball or whatever that have come out, so now they're slightly opening that door. They're not scared to
Everything's
say it.
accepted.
Well, everything
needs
is,
to become the new normal, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, change is hard for everybody, especially when you talk about like sports and society. It does take. A lot of people have a hard time adjusting to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
We're just terribly slow. But I was gonna ask too, by the way, about the fact with the Bears. They also have a huge salary cap, don't they?
They do. They do. They have a big salary cap. I think they have one of the highest salary caps in the NFL now that they were able to lay off a couple of picks, or they were able to get a couple of picks, but they do have one of the higher salary caps. And this is good for them because they can try to see if they can attract a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Free agency.
Well, hey, yeah, Kansas City's losing a couple players. They released Frank Clark and to let their O-line guy go, so maybe the Bears will try to pick up the O-line guy.
Yeah, they got rid of Orlando Brown. They got rid of Frank Clark. They got rid of a couple of key players that I think other teams could pick up. But I'm kind of thinking the Chiefs, they'll be fine because the Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes, and honestly, when you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Chris Jones on the defensive side of the football, you should be okay.
Yeah, they'll be all right. And plus, they just won a championship.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah, they won their second title in 4 years, so they really should be okay.
Man.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really all comes down to, can you sustain that despite the uphill battle that you're climbing with losing some important guys.
Yeah.
But also, we're also waiting on Aaron Rodgers and what's going on with him. I heard that
Where is he going?
just
where's he gonna
retire.
go?
I'm sick
I
of him.
don't think he's going to the Jets. The Jets aren't that great, anyways. And okay, all right, they're a little good, but are they going to pay all that out to him?
That's the question.
That's going to be their whole cap almost.
it would.
And he's
The
an
thing is,
aging quarterback.
Yeah, how many years is he going to be there? I'm guessing only 1 year at best.
1 year, maybe 2 years. Because if you remember, this is very similar to the Brett Favre thing when he went to the Jets.
Well, he wanted to go to Minnesota originally, but they didn't want to turn to it in their divisional rival.
What they're probably going to do is go, you guys, you new guys, stay here, right? The new quarterbacks, let him work, and then he'll show you. And that's about it. And is that all they're going to hire him for? I don't know if it's worth it.
Well, you gotta
I'm not
remember,
in charge of the Jets. I don't make those decisions.
Well, you gotta remember the Jets drafted really well last year. They had a phenomenal rookie class with Sauce Gardner at corner, Breece Hall at running back, Garrett Wilson at receiver. They have Elijah Moore. They have Michael Carter. They have an offensive line that they could, improve a little bit. The secondary could use a little bit of improvement. The pass rush, they did get better in pass rush. This is a team that has a lot of very, very talented, skilled players across the board. The problem is their quarterback is the one position they're lacking in, and that's because Zach Wilson has been ineffective. If they want Zach Wilson to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year or two and learn from him, then maybe this could be good for Zach Wilson because I keep
That
hearing
might be a good
that
idea. I mean, how much would Rodgers want?
maybe 60 million.
Oh my God.
Jesus, that's like the whole cap.
It's a lot of it's a lot of their cap, but at this
Yeah.
point the Jets only care about winning a title. That's really what they care about at this point.
Which hasn't happened for them for 50-something years.
Joe Namath.
68.
69, right? 69?
Yeah, Joe Namath
69.
guaranteed it. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
a
Joe
long
Namath-
time, 50-something years, and I don't know if it's going to happen for a while. They're like the Cubs of football. That's why I consider the Jets.
And they
The
won.
Cubs are the original Cubs. That's why they won twice in a row and then 100 years later. Right.
Right.
Because they're the original Cubs. Jets that weren't so lucky to win twice in a row and then wait 100 years.
Well, you also
That's
got to
good.
remember the Jets also have the longest active playoff drought in the NFL. They're trying to get back to the playoffs. That's what they're going to try and do. But from there, if they over exceed expectations and get back to the playoffs, they can maybe make a run at Super Bowl. Although I will say this, the AFC is a very tough conference.
Yes.
You got Mahomes there,
Especially
you got
the
Josh Allen
East.
there, you got Joe
The
Burrow there.
AFC East is like the top of the top.
Of the
It's
AFC?
super competitive. You got to be really good, and you still may not even win anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got the Bills who are phenomenal. You got the Dolphins who are on the come up. You got the Jets. If they get Aaron Rodgers, they're back in contention. And then you got the Patriots who got Bill O'Brien as their offensive coordinator, and they have some good pieces there. But then you gotta look at
And
the
they got
AFC as a
Belichick,
whole.
right? They still got Bill, right?
Yeah, they got Belichick. Yeah, Belichick's still there.
At least Patricia's gone, right?
If
Yeah,
they get a pretty good quarterback, Belichick still is a great coach.
Uh-huh.
And they should at least get in the playoffs if they got somebody good. And they got a good team around them.
Exactly.
But my
That's really the whole point. It's all about the quarterback position these days. But like, you gotta look at the teams in the AFC as a whole as to why it might be tough for Aaron Rodgers to compete there, because you got the Bills, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Jaguars are on the come up, the
Yeah.
Chargers.
I'm disqualifying the Chargers. I don't trust that team.
I don't know why they kept Brandon Staley as their head coach after that terrible playoff collapse.
That's a shocker. How do you not fire the guy?
You want to know why? Because the players love the coach. That's why.
Well, I guess that plays a part, but seriously, he's supposed to be a defensive
It
minded guy.
does.
Wonder how much he was held up by Aaron Donald when the Rams. That's something to think about.
That's a good point.
You gotta like the coach, players. Gotta be something you like.
Yeah, if
Part
the
of it.
players like the coach, it's a plus for the coach, because then
Yes.
it proves that they're getting their points across and that he actually connects with them. If you have a coach that does really well but doesn't get along with his players, then that in itself is just a problem.
Where did
Ooh-wee.
the guy from the Raiders end up? The quarterback. I forgot.
Oh,
what
of course,
he
with the
is.
Saints, which I
Oh, the
still
Saints.
am wondering how that's going to work out.
We have comments in YouTube. Ooh, one of my loyal watchers, Two Sweet Pistol Pete, is in the house. Thanks for stopping by, Pete. Yeah.
If that's a hospital, you're flatlining. It might be your last day.
I check on the chats because fans are important.
Yeah, of
And you wanna-
course.
Yeah, you want to make people feel like that what they're saying is valued,
Mhm.
right? Or they
Here's
may
a
not
question.
ever show up again. You don't want to be like, screw you and your lame comments. No.
Well, here's
that's
my
not cool.
question. Sorry.
That's the YouTube censors. They want to cut out some of the stuff.
No, it's fine. Pete's not saying anything too wrong.
I'm just kidding.
He said somebody's going to Raiders. I know what he was talking about.
Well, I meant the quarterback that left the Raiders. But who do they have
Derek
now?
Carr, yeah.
Who do they have
The
that's
Saints
good?
are now with Carr. The Raiders don't have anybody, I don't think.
They have Jarrett Stidham, but he's not good enough.
They
Are
should
the
go for Watt, right?
49ers going to have anybody healthy because they didn't have any quarterbacks when they were in the
That's a
playoffs?
question. Brock Purdy's injured with the elbow. I don't know about Trey Lance.
What about the guy that Purdy replaced?
Garoppolo.
Isn't
Jimmy
he a free
Garoppolo.
agent?
Yeah,
He's gone. He's gone there. He's not coming
he's
back.
gone.
Really?
They put him. They let him loose.
Well, they're gonna let him loose because they invested so much in Trey Lance a couple of years ago by trading up to get the third pick to get Trey Lance. That's the one. 2, they saw what Brock Purdy could do, which was very productive. And then 3, Jimmy Garoppolo thought he was done last year, and he's not on a contract. So unless they turn their backs around and say, okay, Jimmy, here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna sign you, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Well, here's the weird thing: Jimmy G was almost let go last season, but
That's a smart move. That if Purdy gets healthy, he's not bad. He could probably go to distance, possibly.
Yeah.
But people have to stay healthy if they want to stay in the win column.
Yeah, exactly. You got health is a big part of it, but it's also the personnel that you have on your team. If you don't have a good
Sure.
amount of talent on your roster, you're not going to go far.
All right, this is great, but I gotta go tinkle. So you guys continue. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'm very curious. Well, San Francisco is literally a quarterback away from the Super Bowl. That's the insane part about the past couple of years. They were literally a quarterback away.
Well, it really all comes down to the fact that the 49ers have had a lot of talented teams, but the NFC is so wide open, and the Eagles are probably going to stake their claims as the best team in that conference from now on. But the problem that they have is that they can't stay healthy. That's their problem. Either Bosa gets hurt, or their starting quarterback gets hurt, or their running backs get hurt. Like, something happens, and it's so unfortunate because this 49er team is a great team. They went to the NFC Championship game 3 of the last 4 years.
Is Lance really good? I've never really seen him play ever. So
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not feeling it. I know he started 2 games, but I've seen him play, and I'm not feeling it.
Really? Yeah. Maybe. You think they're going to go with him as the starting quarterback opening day? He must be healed by now, right?
Yeah, he's fully healed by now. I mean, and they honestly have no choice because Brock Purdy is going to be back in at least 6 months, so he might not be back in time for opening day. So
here's another thing: is Brock Purdy really that good, or is it because of the players and the fact that he played within the scheme? That's another question too. We always hear debates about how Tom Brady was told as assistant QB till he left the Patriots and joined the Bucs and won the Super Bowl with them.
I'm going to be honest. I think that Brock Purdy has the talent. I think Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback. I think that he is I think he's very smart. I think the scheme that he's in with San Francisco with the Kyle Shanahan-led offense is great. But I am going to say one thing: he does have a lot of talented players around him. But those same talented players were not productive with Trey Lance, so that's why I'm thinking maybe that Brock Purdy could be the guy. After all,
this is
Mr.
all
Irrelevant.
true.
He's a good short passer. I didn't see Purdy throwing it that deep, but maybe he did, and I don't remember.
Snug says, laugh out loud. Nobody has seen Lance play since college.
Well, that's because he played at North Dakota State, which is very, very light-headed football.
Yeah.
But Kyle Shanahan is not going to face any problems with his coaching job, at least for the foreseeable future, because when you get to the NFC title game a couple of times with the less than stellar quarterback play, you have something. It's just, at some point they're going to be asking how much longer is he going to stay on.
One day in the future, I'll have a radio board, and we'll be able to talk to Snug live on the air. Once I get some sponsors, I'll buy one. If I'm making money, might as well buy one, right?
Well, like I said, for the show that I do, I have a bunch of sponsors that support the show, that support my show, Sirianni Says Sports. I usually have 7 sponsors, I think 8. So,
wow. How long have you been doing the show?
Oh, I started in 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah, 2 years. How long did it take you to get sponsors?
It took about a year, maybe 2 years.
All right. Yeah, it'll probably take me that long. I go out all the time, and people are thinking about, but yet they're not doing. They're only thinking. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of viewers, so I don't have any sponsors. I do
Snug
it for fun.
said sometimes just not making mistakes makes you a good quarterback. Could be right about that.
That's why
Yeah,
Purdy
That's
is good in that sense because he doesn't
Snug is
get
very
intercepted.
knowledgeable in the sports thing. He follows all
Oh,
the
wow.
shows. I go a lot of them, and there he is. He's in there. Yeah. He'll be in the chat of all shows.
Awesome.
Well, here's the
That's
thing,
great to
though.
hear.
Once we get Rodgers, whatever happens to Aaron Rodgers, that's going to be when you're going to find teams are going to go rush for quarterbacks in the first 10 picks.
I think what happens with Aaron Rodgers is really going to affect the landscape of the draft. I think that the Raiders are going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I think that they're going to be picking 1 overall in 2024. But
The Raiders always, there's a key word, stink.
yeah,
JT the
And-
Brick, he
And
loves the
changing
Raiders.
locations doesn't help them. They went from LA to Oakland. They should have stayed in LA because they won there.
Have you ever heard of a talk show host called JT the Brick? He
No.
loves the
No.
Raiders. He does late night talk shows on Sirius. Talks about the Raiders. He lives in Vegas.
Okay, I'll have
Anyway,
to check
if
the
you don't
guy
know,
out. Heck yeah.
it's he's got a good show. He's a really like pumps up the audience pretty good. He's on at 10 or 11 at night.
10 or 11 at night. All right. What
Usually
days?
on Sunday
Saturday?
nights, but there's no football now, so I don't know when he's on. But I'm
He
sure
doesn't
he's on
cover
YouTube.
MLB? No.
He must.
Yeah,
I
mean,
usually he talks about baseball a lot too.
you got to cover more than one sport. I mean, there's sports all year round.
No, he does. He talks about other sports too.
All right. I'll check him out. Cool.
If you Google him, you'll see something for sure.
All right.
Just for fun.
All right.
But it's going to be interesting because the Raiders need a quarterback, and I don't see Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders, man. They don't have anything besides Devontae Adams.
Most likely he's going to go to Jets, but who else is pining for him?
Lots of women seem to pine for him. He's always got a new girlfriend.
No, I mean,
I've
what other
never seen a
teams-
guy
He's
that
the Pete Davidson.
breaks
Yeah,
up
what-
another girl. Wow.
What other teams
But
are on the
Aaron Rodgers-
list besides the Jets?
it's really just the Jets because
Yeah.
he met with the owner, general manager, coach, and offensive coordinator early last week. So
Okay.
like he met with them. Apparently the Packers were talking to the Jets about a trade. It's
Yeah.
really just all on Aaron Rodgers now, whether or not he wants to go to New York or if he wants to retire. Those are his only 2 options.
Right.
Yeah, Packers are done with Aaron Rodgers. It's definitely.
When do you think people are going to win the Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. lottery? Is that still happening?
Yeah.
Is he healthy?
He actually had a workout, a private workout where scouts from all 32 teams or 14 teams checked him out.
Yeah.
I think I forget which teams checked him out, but I think like the Cowboys were one of those teams that checked him out.
New York,
in a
obviously.
private workout.
Hey,
Giants, I think, were one of them, and the Bills. I
And the
think
Bills were one of them.
major.
Yeah.
Who do you
But
think is going? Are people going to make decisions anytime soon?
I mean, the draft is around the corner. I think you'd have to make a decision sometime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, free agency starts on Tuesday, so
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be somewhere this spring. I mean, I love for him to go to the Giants, but I don't know if they're going to give him the money he wants.
but Odell Beckham Jr., he's been hit by 2 serious ACL injuries, basically, right? How much?
yeah,
And he's 32 years old, right?
that's correct.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, but for a receiver, 32 is like near the end of your. It's like the end of your prime,
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
and those
Good point.
injuries don't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, injuries do not help at all. And I think Odell Beckham has lost a
No.
lot of speed. He did get that Super Bowl ring, so he validates his success with the Rams. But
Mhm.
a reunion, like we're not going to see any one-handed acrobatic catches from him
No.
anymore. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
And going to Cleveland help him.
I wish him luck no matter what his future is. I'd love to see him on the Giants, but it may not be the cards. They got to secure certain players, maybe add a couple new players, and that's what they got to do.
But
Yeah.
isn't it weird though that Odell
There's
Beckham?
probably nowhere in the cat for Mr. Beckham, but Cowboys could probably give him the money that he needs and the time also.
But
Probably.
you're not gonna spend like $20 million on him for a couple of years. You're gonna give him a cheap ass contract and actually try to save up for other players. You don't want to spend so much in one player. He has to know that.
Yep.
But they're giving Dax Prescott so much money, and he chokes every playoffs, pretty much, doesn't he?
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
He
People
does.
compare.
I always think he's going to bust out and become this big superstar in the Super Bowl. But it's like you check the time, Super playoffs, there he goes, Dax, and there he goes. He's out every year. It's
Well,
fun.
wait, is he like the new Kirk Cousins now?
Well, Cousins is another one. You just can't win the big game.
I think Snug is saying Odell Beckham Jr. to the St. Louis Battle Hawks. What team is that?
Must be a minor league.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
We'll get an incentive contract, Snug is saying. Possibly. We'll have to see where he really goes. It'll be interesting.
It won't be the
Sure.
CFL, I'm pretty sure. He would make about $100,000 a year.
Yeah, he wants millions, like
Yeah,
everybody.
Nobody goes to CFL. If you go there, you're pretty much give up on the big mansion and you
Oh, that's
settle
the
for a little condo.
It's an XFL team. I don't think he's going there.
Oh,
I don't even
Carson
follow
Wentz
the
is going to
XFL. I follow the NFL. I follow MLB. I don't have time for XFL.
No,
I really
me
care
neither.
about
But
it.
guys,
I can't with the
Well.
XFL. I mean, I appreciate that they're trying. They really are trying, but
But if
yeah,
like
it just
you have
doesn't.
a football league that plays in the rest of winter and in like the springtime, I mean,
And don't
Hey,
forget, there's
what?
also the USFL as well in April.
KISS has a team where they
Jesus,
did.
how many damn FLs are there?
3 of them.
Does KISS still own a football team? They did. I
What was
forget
that?
what. Arena, maybe. Arena football.
Probably arena football.
Yeah.
Is arena football still a thing?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I think it folded a while ago.
It might have
Yeah.
been.
But
I
when-
just remember it.
But here's the thing, though. Speaking of those leagues, Carson Wentz has got to be done in the NFL at this point, right?
Yeah, I think so. He had his
Yeah.
chance. He was great for a little bit. He had a shining moment, and then he just collapsed. He plummeted.
Yeah.
I don't
Foles should
understand.
be retiring by
What
now. I
player,
think.
any athlete
Nick Foles.
collapse like this? It's insane.
No,
but-
I've never seen a fall from grace like I've seen from Carson Wentz. And part of it was injuries. Part of it was his inconsistent play. Part of it was he handled it well. I mean,
Yeah.
God bless him for being patient with everything, but like he really fell off the map
Now
after
he's
that.
stuck in the Colts. That's a pretty dead team. That's
Yeah.
a sad team.
He had a chance to make the playoffs with him, crazy enough. But then,
Believe it or not, he almost took the Colts to the playoffs. He just had a terrible game in Jacksonville on the final week of the season that cost them
Yeah.
the playoff spot.
I mean,
Yeah.
those things happen. It's going to be about winners and losers. I mean, you have a bad week, then you're out. That's what happens in the playoffs.
Well, if you have a bad year, you're gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Bad game, you're out for the game. Bad year, you're
Snug
gone.
says someone will sign Wentz at least as a backup quarterback.
At this rate,
possible.
that's all you can be relegated to.
Yeah.
Will Matt Ryan be back, or is he
oh
finished?
gosh, he should retire.
He's gone. He's
He has
probably
to.
done.
Rudderman said it's good because I said in a few minutes we could talk MLB again, but he said it's good. He's got to call Fred. So, we'll see him next week. It was fine. We've
Yeah.
moved on. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Carson Wentz was once an MVP candidate too.
He was in 2017. He would have won that MVP had he not gotten hurt. It wouldn't have gone to Brady.
No, at least they won the Super Bowl.
That's
The
the
Eagles.
that's the sad thing about it. He won the Super Bowl, but while on the sidelines, while Nick Foles won it.
Yeah, listen, Nick Foles got more out of the Super Bowl than Carson Wentz did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nick Foles, he wasn't really your starting caliber quarterback because he robbed Jacksonville in Chicago, basically.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I miss Fitzpatrick. That guy. There's something about that bearded guy. He would win every few weeks, and everybody. I would say, how is he so great? You know, he looked like he could win a Super Bowl. That guy.
Hey, listen,
And then
in New York in 2015, it was Fitzmagic.
that guy was something else. I loved him with the Dolphins. But he had a good career.
Speaking of the Dolphins, I'm surprised he picked up the option for Tua.
I try not to speak ill of the Jets because the president is a Jets fan. Yeah, so I try to speak highly. One of my potential sponsors also likes the Jets.
Well, the Jets have something. They just need to figure out the position.
I hope everybody in the network likes their replay. That's right.
That's a good point.
Almost over. Yeah.
I'm surprised the Dolphins kept Tua though, because Tua's injury scared the hell out of me.
But
I mean-
I was warned in chat one day while watching this live. I said the Jets suck, and he goes, "Do your homework first before you make statements like that." I was warned, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll fact check and then say statements." Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna go with what our friend over there was saying about Tua. I mean, listen, Tua had a better season than he did before. I mean, obviously getting Tyreek Hill was a big part of his improvement. But Tua could throw the deep ball probably better than any quarterback I've seen. Like his deep ball this last year was phenomenal.
I hope if they do put the franchise tag or pay Jones all his money that he improves.
Daniel.
And throws more and has a better year as a quarterback.
I mean, listen, I truth be told, Daniel Jones deserved the tag more than an extension. Saquon could have gotten the extension because you want to know the thing is running backs are cheaper. So you would have saved some money by paying Saquon the extension than tagging Daniel Jones and saying, all right, you know what? You had a good year. Prove it again. Prove it again, and then we'll give you an extension.
But we're not the Giants. We're not in their headspace. We're not making decisions. Like, I wish I could be given power of attorney in a meeting. Like, hold on, before you give him the franchise tag, why don't we give it to the quarterback? I'm saying I'm not in the final decision. I'm just here for one purpose. Let's talk about it. I wish I could be in the headspace at that moment.
Exactly.
Give him the extension. He's a running back. Running backs are cheap. Quarterback is more important here, right? But I'm not in that meeting. None of us are. I wish we all could be in there for a minute, right? 5 minutes. Just give us 5 minutes. We'll talk. We'll be over in probably 10 minutes, and let's just be here right now. But we can't be. That's a problem.
That's true.
Oh boy, just the NFL is a crazy, crazy world. But you know what? That's why the NFL is so popular, because it's so crazy and so many things can happen. The XFL, I know The Rock endorses it, but I just can't get
crazy. You mean the Rocket like Clemens or another Rocket?
The Rock, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The Rock. Oh yeah,
Didn't he try out? He tried out for CFL team once. Do you know that in the 90s?
Yeah, I remember.
He tried out, but he didn't make it.
Have you watched his show, Young Rock? Good show.
I haven't watched it.
I like him going through his history. It's good.
I'm sure he has an interesting life.
The young him looks like the young him.
He was selling insurance, I saw. At one point, he was putting on a suit and tie and trying to sell insurance. Man.
Well, they're independent contractors, so there's no guarantee that you're going to be at the next match or even wrestling the next year. Because there's always going to be a new guy that gets hot early, and then, your history. Well, we got this new guy. He's fighting the number one star now. We'll see you at WrestleMania. Right.
Yeah.
That's what happens to those guys. And then that new guy is probably told the same thing the next year. Sorry, man, you're not that popular anymore. Right.
Yeah.
What happened to the Iron Sheik? He's still alive, eh? The Iron Sheik.
Yeah, Iron Sheik is still alive. He was on Howard for a while. I'm not
Many
going to
times,
repeat what he said because it's not sports like commentary.
Well, he denigrated gay people. Like, you are gay. I won't say it because I don't want to screw up your
We
show.
know. On my regular YouTube show, I could say it. But
I don't want to
it's not
diss
for here.
people on your show, but he was pretty rough.
It's not for here. This is
It was
not even
funny,
my
though.
network.
Yeah, that's
But
why I held
it
off.
was, right. But he would always say, "You're a jabroni." That's allowed here.
Jabroni. You jabroni.
Jabroni.
Hulk Hogan can. And I won't say what he said. Hulk Hogan.
I put them in camel clutch. That's right.
He's
That's all
on
about
Twitter, but it's probably somebody else using his account. Most celebrities don't waste their time with Twitter. They
I
just
think it actually is him.
if he's really doing it, that's amazing.
Yeah. All right,
I
guys.
always
It's been
wondered.
real. I'll see you next week.
Nice to
you
talk
next
to you
week.
guys. Have a lot of fun
Thanks,
in the
man.
week.
I'm gonna
Have
hit
fun.
the
Take care.
end. Let's see if there's any last comments from Snug the Cat or Jeff. Nope. All right. Thank you for joining me.